I just can't make these things up because they actually just happen, so I'm just gonna talk about them. So I have been taking anxiety medication for a few days now. I don't remember how many days exactly, I probably should, but the one gives me high, like, side effects, we'll say it like that, where I do feel high, but not like, it's hard to explain because I'm so used to being in constant panic and everything, so it's like I just feel calm. It almost does feel like a high kind of a feeling. But I did not only start taking the anxiety medications, I also took a few other medications for like my stomach and my throat, like just all kinds of stuff going on inside with my organs. So I started them all at once. So I don't know if it's a mixture of like starting all of these new medications or just even that alone, the anxiety medication alone. I know that can do a lot because it's getting all of my chemical imbalances in my brain somewhat normalized and stabilized. But I also can't swallow a pill. And every medicine that I've been put on this past time I went to the doctors, they're all pills. And I was told that I can crush them all, so I have been. But I think that's what's also messing with my stomach, in addition to the actual, just the fact that I'm starting all these new medications. So like, I haven't had an appetite or anything like that. And like I said, the one medication does make me feel high. And I'm sure I act high, and I'm just like, you know. So someone in the family decided to call me a drug addict. I'm sure out of anger and being overwhelmed themselves, but I had fought for over 10 years to not be put on medication in the first place. So the fact that once I finally am on it and I am seeing results, to be called a drug addict is just like, I just don't even have words for it. Especially when it's someone that you're so close to and the one person that you think actually understands what you're dealing with and what you've been dealing with, because they've been fighting with me through the whole journey, especially trying to avoid having to resort to taking medication in the first place. But because I haven't had an appetite or anything, I haven't been able to like really eat at all or anything, and I have been acting like I'm high, I guess, because everybody is so used to seeing me in complete panic mode. So I was told, oh, you think it's cute not to eat, you think it's cute to be a drug addict, you think it's cute to act like a druggie. And I just, those words are really hurtful actually, because medication was my last resort, my absolute last resort, and I tried them before. I've talked about it in videos before. I'll probably make more videos about it, but this was the first time where I was talking to a regular doctor about it. I wasn't talking to like a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever. I was talking to my actual doctor about it and trying to figure out, okay, like, this medication might lead to these side effects, but due to these health issues you might want to avoid that. So we really tried to figure out which ones would be best for me and minimal side effects. So like, a lot of thought had been put into it, a lot of time and energy, effort, everything had been put into it to try to avoid having to actually take the medication. But I got to the point where I decided it's time to try again with them, and then, I don't know, apparently the fact that I didn't have an appetite because I had just started all these medications, apparently it called for calling me a drug addict. Anyway, the only reason I'm even sharing any of this is because I'm sure that I probably am not the only one that this has happened to. And I'm not going to let it stop me from taking the medication, because I know it does not make me a drug addict. I just don't even really have words for it. It probably wasn't the most mature thing for me to do, but I did post about it on my Facebook that I had been called a drug addict for taking these medications, and I probably shouldn't have, but I don't know. I'm all about vulnerability anymore and all this that I'm trying to do, and I just put it all out there. So, and it really all is just because if someone else happens to be going through it, then I want them to see that they're not alone in it, and that other people are going through it and dealing with it too. It's just important, because had I been how I used to be, if I was called a drug addict, then I probably would have stopped taking it. And to be honest, I was immature, and I went and got all of my pill bottles and I threw them at the family member who called me a drug addict. And then later just acted like none of that even happened, and I was actually begging to not be spoken to. I was like, don't talk to me like you called me a drug addict after all of these years of trying not to have to take medication, then you're gonna call me a drug addict. But then, of course, they acted like none of it ever happened, and that it wasn't what they said, and that I only hear what I want to hear. So if you want to let me know, like, who would want to hear your family member call you a drug addict, like, I don't know. I hope everyone is just stressed and that's why. But it is hurtful. And if anyone has ever told you that you're a drug addict because you're taking anxiety medication to try to balance out your chemical imbalance in your brain, you cannot listen to that. That's not true at all. That is a totally different subject in itself. It really is. So just in case anyone else has ever been told something like that, I just want to make sure you know that that's totally different than being a drug addict. All you're trying to do is balance out a chemical imbalance that's going on in your brain. It's very important to remember that, because I've had to keep going over in my mind over and over, like, you're not a drug addict. Yes, right now I am adjusting to the medication, so I do feel high, I do act high, but it's different than, it's a touchy subject, but it's very different than an actual drug addiction and all of that. It's just my body trying to adjust to normalcy, and just seriously my chemicals trying to balance out finally. That's what it is. So just, if anyone's ever told you that you're a drug addict for taking anxiety medicine, trying to help yourself out with it, just don't listen to it, block it out. Remember, you are trying to balance out the chemicals that are going on in your brain, and eventually I'm sure the body will adjust and things will get back to somewhat normal. Like I said, I was gonna keep updating on this new journey with medication because I was so against it. Not against it like for everyone, I know it helps a lot of people, but just for me myself, it just was something that I kept feeling like I needed to fight this battle on my own, until it just got to be entirely too much all over again. So I will keep updating on this medication journey.